Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 7 of Pathway to Healing series. I have the lovely Miss Kelly Maresha, the celebrity emotional wellness and spiritual life coach here, also the mental manifester. So, I'm, yeah, tell everybody hi, girl. I'm about to do my little introduction to you. So, if you do not know who Kelly is, I advise you to get to know her. She is a powerhouse. Her energy can be felt through the screen, and you'll understand what I'm saying in a second. And she is an amazing person to talk about how you can discover what needs healing. You know, so many of us experience situations or we have moments of doubting ourselves. We don't know where that came from. Having a hard time putting a value, if you're a business owner, on your worth and not understanding why do I have a hard time valuing myself? I know my value, but I have a hard time vocalizing that. So today we are going to talk about discovering what needs healing, and I'm going to give Miss Kelly the opportunity to introduce herself, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome,
Yay.
welcome, welcome. Kicking off November.
You said say that again?
We're kicking off November.
Like it ain't never been kicked off before.
So tell us who you are.
Okay. So as she said, I'm Kelly Maresha. You can find me at just plain Kelly Maresha or the Mental Manifest. It doesn't matter. Some call me a lot of different things, So, but it's only what I call myself that matters, right? So I
Come
call
on,
myself God. And
come
so
on.
that is who I am. That's who I believe I am. That's who I believe you are. I am born and raised in Kansas City, Kansas. Stayed a little bit in Dallas, Texas. Now I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. I am a celebrity emotional wellness coach and a spiritual life coach. So I work with a lot of people that are transitioning out of religion, specifically Christianity. That is where my strong suit is. I also work with people who are deciding that they need to heal childhood trauma, things emotionally that are sitting energetically inside of them. We work together. I walk a piece of the way with them to help them on their spiritual journey and to help them release and heal and become their higher self, become the purest form of themselves again.
I love that. So let's get started. Let's talk about when someone comes to you, right? And I'm sure they come and they're trying to get their mind together because they don't know what exactly it is that they need, but they know they need something.
Yeah.
What is that first step a person can take to discovering what they even need to heal?
The biggest thing for me is cycles, things that have repeated in their lives. And so,
Mhm.
um, first off, when I talk to anybody, the very first interaction we have, they're really doing most of the talking. My job is to listen. One of my gifts is hearing. I'm clairaudient. If people don't know what clairaudient is, just very briefly, how it shows up in me is two things. I can hear different languages when people are speaking. So it wouldn't be uncommon that you're speaking right now, and then all of a sudden I'll hear another language, and I'll have to kind of
Wow.
ask you to stop and slow down because my ears have now literally switched to a whole nother language, even though you're still speaking English. That's one of the things that shows up very, very prevalent for me. Also, I can hear conversations in different rooms, in different cities, in different countries. It's like I'm a little fly on the walls. But
Wow.
another thing that comes with the clear audience is I'm able to really hear what you're saying when you don't even know what you're saying. It's as if your spirit and my spirit are having a conversation.
Wow.
And then once the person really, really kind of settles down and they're like, whew, okay, I think I told you everything. I'm like, yeah, you really did. And you have no clue. Let me tell you what I heard. And then I
Yeah.
go back and I tell them like this is happening here. This is connecting here. And this is crossing and conjuncting here. And this is why you're feeling this. And they're like, you get it. You get me. I couldn't even explain that. I know that's okay. Your spirit was explaining it very well to you. And so that's really what a first kind of conversation would look like for me, even if you don't really know what you need to talk about.
Right.
A lot of times what's funny is a lot of people, women particularly, will come to me talking about a guy, and the first thing I say is that I'm not here for him. He didn't inbox me. I want
I
you
like
only to
that.
talk about yourself,
That's
because
good.
He is a symptom. He is not the catalyst. It
Wow.
was happening
Wow.
long before him. And so childhood, like you can't talk about your childhood enough with me. You just can't, because it's always, that's your framework. That's your blueprint. And in addition to natal charts, but your natal chart will tell your childhood. You know, it doesn't even have to know who you are. Your natal chart will tell all your business, and you'll be like, well, I never told nobody that. I know, that's okay.
Right.
So that's really kind of what it looks like with me.
You know what I like that you said that a lot of people don't do is listen.
Mm,
Because a lot of times when we're coming to someone, we probably already feel like people have not been listening.
mm.
So the ability that you have to be able to discern and say, you need someone to listen to you,
To be
right?
heard. People want to be heard and seen.
And seen,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so many people, when we talk about trying to discover what needs healing, they can't see themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing, because I've taken your classes before, and you're a beast. And yes, I have paid because she is worth the money. Okay. You talked about being unable to put a value on yourself. So a
Mm.
lot of people who listen in are business owners, entrepreneurs, or even professionals, and they're doing salary negotiation. What is it that makes it so difficult? And we talk a lot about women because women seem to have this problem more so than men a lot of times.
Mm.
What is it a person can figure out to determine, I know my worth, but why can't I put a price on my worth? What
Yeah.
is that?
So you brought up very interesting about men versus women. And so I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of patriarchy, although that is very, very, very generational. It's very embedded. It's also embedded into religions about how women are weaker
Yeah.
vessels. And so women are always looked at as side, but not equal. And because that perpetuates through generations in small little subtle ways, we absorb those messages. I won't go down that rabbit hole, okay? Everybody got that? Great. Let's go into this today and right now. If you were a child who was constantly told you're doing too much,
Mhm.
or just sit down and be quiet all the time, or really you were just suppressed and stifled for really just being. And if
Mm,
you've never really had a moment where you've been seen and you've been understood,
come on.
inside of you there's a war. There's a piece of you that knows I'm a fucking superstar. I'm a beast. But then there's this side of you that has never been developed, that has
Mhm.
never been given a chance, that has never been given the opportunity because you didn't give yourself permission to. You didn't know you could give yourself permission to be too much, to be loud, to be great, to be. So now you've got this war. You've got what I know I can be, or what I really am believing is truth, and then I got this piece over here that has been suppressed, bashed down, had disappointments. Oh, the disappointments.
Mhm.
That's a rabbit hole too. But you just have
Wow.
so many messages that have been given to yourself. And so now you're sitting, and it sits in your heart chakra. I'm gonna give some really good free game today. That heart chakra is where all this sits in. And believe it or not, people think it's just your solar plexus, which talks about your value. It's not just your solar. At the end of the day, as a business owner, if your money's not sitting right where you want it to be at, if you're struggling with increasing your prices, you're going to want to go into that solar area and that heart area, because there's some disappointment there sitting in that heart area. Well, I tried this 3 years ago and it didn't work. It's still sitting in there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Somebody inboxed me and told me that my prices was too much. Ooh, that's sitting in there. That's sitting in there. That's still sitting in there. And
Wow.
here's the deal. Um, a lot of times and I'll tell you another thing. Let me give you some clues. Let me back up and tell you two ways that you know that you have an issue
Okay.
with your solar and your heart. If people are coming to you telling your prices are too much, it's you. It's not them. You're the magnet.
Mhm.
You're attracting those kind of people. You need to really do a whole overhaul. You need to sit with yourself for a little bit, get in some meditation, get with your mantra, inner child yourself, reparent yourself, reframe those messages, because I don't have those issues. And I'm not saying just because I'm so great, although I am, but I had to shift myself vibrationally so that I was not attracting the people that would complain about a price. The people that I have now, they call me, they don't even ask about a price until the end of the session.
That's
I
it.
had to get used to that. Now, don't get me wrong, that was pretty good for the ego, but they never asked me how much. I had to shift myself and know that I was good enough, great
Yeah,
enough to shift myself in new arenas where people didn't ask those questions. That's a really good indicator that you're in that. There's some messages going
that's
on.
good.
But if you don't value yourself, another thing I tell people too is spending money on yourself. You mentioned that you took a class of mine, investing in yourself. If you have a hard time investing 30 and 40 and $50 in yourself, yet you have a service or a good that's $100 or $200, I don't see how you feel like you're going to sell that, because you have given the message to yourself that the max you're going to do is spend $50, and you're going to cringe at that. I spend money on myself like I, I'm gonna be honest. Half the time, and I said that November was gonna be my budget month, but October I balled out. I did whatever the fuck I wanted to do in October. Why? Because I could, and
Yeah,
because I was worth it. I have worked hard, and I knew that I was worth it. And I do still have some goals. Don't get me wrong, and I believe in budgets. Everybody, I believe in
right,
budgets.
right.
Um,
There's always wisdom.
Yes, but I am not budget. I'm not discount, and I don't treat anything about me in that way. Therefore, I don't attract anything that's budget and discount. I don't even. I hate those words. I don't use those words. They just kind of make my ass itch. I don't. I'm not that person, because I know my value. I know where I am, and I know where I'm going. And so, those the twain don't meet up for me. The
Yeah,
twain don't meet up. So, just how you invest in yourself, how much you invest in yourself, and not just how you invest in yourself, the how. Like, do you do it cheerfully? Do you do it begrudgingly? Do you
that's
do
good.
it? Do you do it in fear? A lot of times people will spin on themselves, and immediately after they're like, "Oh no, what if I don't have enough for this or what?" Woo! This is a layered thing. The way we feel about money was taught to us generationally. This
Yes.
is a very. That's why. I originally went through the mental manifesto, and I'm gonna wrap it up.
No, no,
I
you're
originally
giving us some good stuff.
went under the
Take your
mental
time. I hope y'all are
manifesto.
taking notes because this is good.
Thank you.
This is good.
Because my spirit team gave me that, the mental manifesto, teaching me that it was not about the tools, the candles, and I love me some candles. I got them all the time. It's not about any of that, because if this is not in alignment with whatever tool you're using, the tool is nothing. This is
Right,
just waxing a wick. But
right.
with me, I was the power all along. Is what it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz. You could have went home all along, my dear.
Yeah,
You had them red slippers from the beginning to the very end. And that's how we are. Your mind is the red slipper. Your imagination is the red slipper. And so, because the mental manifesto, I do predominantly work with people of color. I work with everybody. It does not matter what race, I don't care about anything. But I have a strong suit with people of color, obviously, because I am a woman of color, but because there are things generationally we have to address
yes.
that a typical, maybe a non-black or non-colored coach will tiptoe around. They will try to bypass, and we cannot bypass that. We call that spiritual bypassing. You cannot bypass someone else's experience. And as a black culture, we got a big generational experience of economic disproportion. Like we got
Absolutely.
some stuff that we have to really dig in and dig through and go through from childhood, when mama said she couldn't afford it, or when you went for a scholarship and she was like, I don't know why you doing that, because it's too many white people that say you ain't going. Like, it's
Ooh,
all those things that we're having to peel back, that deals
wow.
with our root chakra, our solar chakra, our heart chakra. Like, there's a lot of layers. So I want to just tell people, be patient with yourself, because
Yeah.
it's layers.
I
Okay.
You've given me so much that the whole course of my questions have changed, but I'm gonna go with it because I like that. No, I'm spontaneous. If my energy is going that way, that's where I'm going.
Yes, I feel it.
You have mentioned before affordability. Remember
Mhm.
using that term before, and you don't like that word, but you also talked about. Um, oh, sorry, I don't know why I'm getting static.
Yeah, it kind of popped a little bit.
I don't know what just happened. Is it better now?
It's popping a little bit still, but
Okay.
keep talking. Keep talking. We'll
I think
fix
that's
it.
we'll fix it. Sorry, y'all. We talked about affordability, and you said you don't like that word because there's something attached to that word, right? That you don't like. But then you're talking also about generational layers. And I think that's something that we don't pay attention to often enough. right? Can you talk
Hmm.
about just briefly what you said about my mom said, too many people applied for that job, or too many people applied for that scholarship. What do you think your chances are of getting it? Let's
Hmm.
talk about what that does to us as an adult now.
What it does as a psyche is remember your parents are your superheroes. They are your core, they are your pillar, and their voices weigh heavy. Even when they're a shitty parent, the voices weigh heavy. Even some of your siblings, my sibling and I are 10 years apart. So her voice weighs heavy.
Right.
And there are just some people whose voice, there are some people that can say whatever to you and it does not matter. Then there are some people who you admire and you respect, and their voice just weighs heavier. And so when they're saying those small little things,
Yeah.
small, it is a level of, I don't necessarily want to call it indoctrination, but you could use it almost in that way because typically indoctrination is thought of with a religious context. But it is a programming. I'm going to use that word. It
Yeah.
is a subliminal, small programming that continues to, let me tell you this, let me stop. Reverse. Your subconscious is a tape recorder that has never turned off from the time of conception.
Hmm.
And everything that you have heard and ingested and been around from your ear portals to your eye portals to your eye portal is on repeat. And
Mm.
until you make the conscious effort to unprogram, to reprogram, and to put a new message on repeat, on loop, those other ones are still going. When we talk about money issues, business issues, abandonment, rejection issues, um, poverty, lack, that is a big mindset and a big issue. When we talk about any of those, I have to dig until it hurts, until we
Mm.
pull out that mal message and replace it to what we want it to be, what we wanted to say, what's going to give us the desired end result that we want. Those messages that our parents have said, little or small, to us growing up. That's why it's so important that we have healed parents, have had raising children. And it
That's
happens that
it.
and let me say this, put just a little pause, and I'm going to go back to what these messages mean to a child. But to any of you that had parents that just didn't have it together, I
Yeah.
want you to remember that your parents were children just like you, and in some aspect your parents still are children. And
Mm.
pieces of them that did not grow up, or pieces of them that were stunted in their development, are now raising you, and they're giving you their best. They're
Whew.
giving you their very best. And whereas, all of us born in the late 70s, 80s, we're all of a sudden throwing out this word healing, 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 healing. I want to let you know you are privileged because our parents didn't have access to this. Our parents didn't have a big collective saying, "Yeah, let's heal together." They didn't have groups. They didn't have these initiatives for Black people to start getting mental health help. They didn't have this. They had grin and bear it and get through it. That
That's
was
it.
their culture. And that was what they did. And for most of them, they did their very best. And so when you can see your parent as a person, that will really help you with the forgiveness. That will really help you with you. And let me tell you something else. You can hold someone accountable and still love them.
Whew.
And I
Say
think
that one
people
more
have a
time.
challenge with that. They have a
That's a
challenge with that.
word.
This happened. I still love you. I know you did your best. This happened, and now this happened in me. Now I'm going to heal this in me.
Right.
Well, let's not act like that's not ever. People need to realize your acknowledgement can help somebody out so much.
Yes.
It can help. So sometimes I don't even think people need the apology more so than they need the acknowledgement. Like, I realize I did that to you. I realized I did, and that was fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that acknowledgement means a lot to people. But what does that mean to a child to hear your parents saying small little subtle things? Well, they're gospel. And until you become your own God voice, they are God voice for you. And so
Wow.
it's really important. So when you have that child, you have one child where you can do anything. Girl, you saw this, you saw that, but then you got one child being called bitches and motherfuckers. So
Right.
which child is gonna feel more positive about themselves? Which child is gonna, well, that's obvious because that parent was giving them little bits and little pieces of encouragement or not encouragement, or
Mm.
girl, just listen, we just go to Black schools, this is what they give to us, they give us bad books, bad desks, this is ours, this is what we
Yeah.
had. And
Yeah.
so you begin to think that that's all you can have. One of the things that I have broken is I can no longer buy off-brand food. I just can't anymore.
I'm the
And it
same way.
seems small.
I'm the same way.
But I
Because
remember I was trying to buy some pancake mix, and I turned around and my spirit was like, "Who about to eat this?" And I was like, ooh, pardon me."
oh, that's right.
So it turned back around and got me some pancake with the. And the thing is, like, this is not even what you wanted. Your hand went towards the off-brand because of the price. This
Right.
wasn't what you wanted.
Right.
And so it's just, I
I'm about to
literally
walk away from
shop
my
now.
computer.
Get what you want. What
Hmm.
do you want? I don't want a cupboard full of Always Save. I don't. Now, this is no judgment to anybody who is, because I have had a cupboard of Always Save.
Come on.
But I begin to work on my mindset and beliefs about money. That's all this is. Your belief about money is indicative to your account. What you believe about money and how it flows and how it's supposed to come to you and why you deserve it. Listen, let me just, this is the last free game and I'm going to just mute
No,
myself.
we already over 20 minutes. How did we do this?
Talking about money
It's
and
so
and and
good.
and, and God shit. You can just keep going. This is the last thing I'm gonna say. You
Take your time.
deserve money because you exist. Not because you worked 40 hours, not because you were smarter,
Y'all hear
not because you were prettier, because you exist. Because you were born, because you breathe, because you be.
this?
That's why you deserve money. And that is a pretty hard thing to catapult over. But the moment you do, I don't have to do shit. I don't gotta work for it. I don't have to. I am.
Wow.
I am. And I expect it.
Wow.
So I'll stop. There's more to that. But you guys know you can find me. I love talking about this. I love
Go
it.
and wrap it up
All
because
right.
I don't have nothing to combat that. I'm just going to go ahead and put your information up because you dropped, not only did you start from childhood, you gave us a solution in 22 minutes.
You know how I'm talking about it, baby. I am over people. I'm over it. And I've said this before on my personal page. I'm over people and spiritual people included. Like it's probably more worse in spirituality than it ever was in Christianity. Because at least in Christianity, they had like the 10 people up at the top acting
Right.
like they were everything, and then the rest of y'all was just lays. You know,
Right.
I hated the word lay people. I hated lay people. Lay, bitch. I lay, I reign. But anyway.
I
So
love you, Kelly.
and then when you get into spirituality, now everybody's got the gifts. And I'm like, you guys make my ass itch. Does everybody just have the gift to know what's gonna happen and nobody has strategy? Shut the fuck up. Strategy, strategy, strategy. I am in the business of strategy. If we don't have a game plan, I don't even do readings anymore. I am an accomplished reader. I can read anybody to fucking filth. But I won't do, I stopped doing, I don't even offer readings anymore. I offer coaching sessions. Because I'm not here to just make a leka how, make a honey ho. I am not here to be Miss Cleo for you. I am here
Right.
to show you what I'm seeing, and then we're going to develop a a routine. And everybody knows when they're on a coaching session with me, you get homework and you follow up in 21 days because we are here to help. We're here to grow the collective. Like, listen, I can make anybody impressed by reading somebody, but every single one of us can read. If you're tapped into the
That's
eternal
it.
source, to the infinite source, everybody has the ability to read and see into somebody else. All right, I'm done.
Y'all listen. I want to thank you so much for coming on,
Thank you
sharing
for
this
having
because
me.
I promised you someone needed to hear that.
Thank you.
Someone needed to hear that, right?
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I have your information here. I have your website where you can find her. I have her
Yes, make
Instagram.
sure you guys follow me. I have a lot of coaches on the
Yes.
team that can help you. And you can get on kellymarisha.com. Look at all the coaches. See which one you vibe with. They are amazing, amazing within their own rights. Just amazing
And this is your
classes and
team. This
coaching
is your
sessions.
brand, correct?
You said say that again?
This is under your brand.
Yes, this is under the Kelly Marisha brand. It's Kelly Marisha Evolution Education. We have tons of online classes. Classes launch every month, new classes with the old ones, new classes. Like I'm just going to create classes, classes, classes. Because that's what I love to do. I'm a teacher. So
I love
more
that.
classes every month, more coaches to be able to help. We got the time, baby. Even if we need to do some overnights, we can do it. If you're a person that's like, well, I'm up at night or I work during the day and whatever it is, we can help. So just let us know.
I love that. And you have surely tapped in. That is very clear. So
Thank
thank you so much for joining. And I want to let everyone know, thank you for being on this road. We are more than halfway through the Pathway to Healing series. Directing Paths have brought you guys some amazing, amazing professionals. I am an intuitive transformation coach myself, and here's my contact information. I help you who are exiting abusive, traumatic relationships, being familial, romantic, workplace, reclaim your voice, take back your power, and step into your abundance. So thank you guys all for tuning in. And Kelly, if you can stay along for just a little second, I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast.